Two, right?
Yep,
All right.
Ready.
Okay, break.
All right, so he has some expert advice on us on how we should teach our children about money. This is a subject that I struggle with my kids. Jeff Motske is back with us. Hi, welcome back. It's different today. I just want to say it's different today than it has been for me growing up, and a lot of us.
It is different, and Mark, you're not the only one that struggles with it. And most parents don't want to talk about it. And I think it's a responsibility for us to talk to our kids about money, teach them at early ages about money all the way through life. It's never too late.
Getting them to respect money.
Get them to respect it, get them to appreciate the dollar. All those things are critical. And I'll talk about that when I do the Motske matching plan, which is really one of those areas that really teaches kids about saving and spending and those things.
Matt? You talk to him about money?
I'm the wrong person to ask this question to. Let's just move along, shall we? No, I'm just kidding. I do the best I can. I'm not even joking you. He's better at it than I am, and I'm not joking. This kid's like crazy smart, and Dad not so much. But
Say science test, Steve.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, well that's it. I mean, we're going to get into that.
Right.
We have that little conversation.
Okay, thank you. All right, and she's made an art out of fruit and
Here today to tell us how we can teach our kids about money, please, with some wonderful advice, because I struggle in this area. Please welcome back financial planner and author of The Couple's Guide to Financial Compatibility, Jeff Motske is here.
Hey, Jeff.
Why is this so difficult for us? As parents, we're trying to teach our kids the respect, about money.
It is a challenge, Mark, and for many people, they struggle even talking about it. For many of them, they would rather talk about the birds and the bees than talk about money to their kids, and it's critical that you start early. And
so I was taught an honest day's work is worth an honest day's wage. It really was, and I remember my parents giving me 75 cents as an allowance after working a full week, and I was like, what? But I learned the value of that as a kid. Today, my kids would be like, you take the trash out for that. So what is it? Is it a decline in what the children and their expectations?
Well, and I think we touched on earlier, there's a little bit of an entitlement mentality with this generation. I mean, they're kind of that, I want this, I want that type of thought process. And many of them don't get jobs early on, so they don't really learn how to appreciate the dollar. They don't really learn how to do those things. So if we don't teach them, they're just going to continue to build upon that, and then they get older and older, and as they get older, it gets even harder as a parent.
How much does pop culture play into all of this?
I think a lot. Social media, social circles. If your kids are around other kids that they have a lot of nice things in that lifestyle, your kids are going to come home and say, Mom, Dad, I want those things too. So those social circles matter a lot too. So social media, all those things.
And that's when you say no. I mean, it's hard to, but you have to say no to that.
You have to say no, and then as a couple, you have to agree to say no, because if Dad says one thing and Mom says the other, you're in the same problem. Then you're arguing about it.
Well, you mentioned entitlement before. So what do you do if a child feels entitled? How do you deal with that?
Let me ask you first of all, what are the signs of that? First of all, like what when you say they're entitled?
Yeah, when they say I want this or I want that, or Mom buy me this, Dad buy me that, those types of things that are there when they don't want to take out the trash. I mean, you have an obligation as a parent to sit down and put the rules of the house out there, and this is what I expect for you to do that. And people use the word allowance. I actually like payday, pay the 15th and the end of the month. Cool. And say, this is what we're expected to do. Clean your room, have a good attitude, do your chores around the house. And then you can have what I call a job board on top of that with extra things they can do to earn extra money.
But what if they don't want to do it? If they don't want to do it, and they say, well, I'm still going to have food, and I'm still going to have a room, and I just don't feel like doing it, and they don't have to worry because they don't have to suffer the consequences of paying rent every month or paying a car insurance. How do you teach those to a child when they feel that, okay, my brother will do it or I don't have to do it?
Well, one thing you have to do too with money is you have to teach them the value of it and teach them to tie it to some sort of goal that they want.
Right.
And I think that's an important piece too. If you start tying goals, they'll start thinking more about how do I earn money to get this. And if you say no, and they really want that bike or that new something, they're going to have to earn it themselves.
So, all right, so then how do we get Braden to teach his dad about money?
Yeah, how do we do that? Yeah.
help me.
Now, Matt, question, you're up first.
I do. I think my biggest struggle right now, you mentioned Braden, he's the typical older brother. He's very intelligent, very overprotective. He just seems to get it, like with money. I give both of them a $5 allowance every week, and they have charts that they have to fill, and they love them. They actually love doing their chores. Braden's really good with saving his money. My middle child, Mason, not so much. It seems like Braden gets it, like values money and knows the value of a dollar, and Mason just like Christina said, it's like he knows he's going to still eat and sleep and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, oh, whatever. You know, like how do I?
Yeah. Same with me.
Yeah.
Same in my house.
I think you need to teach them ways and watch what they do and what you do as a parent too. How many people have played the game Monopoly in here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Here's a great question. What do you get for going around Go?
$200.
$200. What does that represent?
Money.
That's right, it's money.
Shoes.
It's a goal. I don't know.
It's a goal.
Well, it's payday.
It's actually your salary.
Yeah.
It's your salary. It's $200 for going around Go. And how many people have ever won the game Monopoly by just going around Go?
Nobody.
You can't. You can't. You
got it.
have to make decisions with your money. You have to learn what to spend, what to save, what to invest, risks, rewards. And you probably have one saver who sits on the $500 bill and doesn't tell anybody about it later. But if they don't make some decisions with their money and we don't teach them how to make decisions with their money, they're never going to get it. So as a parent, we have to sit down and walk them through that. And it's just a great game. It's been played billions of times, and nobody's ever won by just going around.
Shirley?
Yeah. Well, I have kids 19 and 21. They're in college, and we're paying for the tuition and where they're staying. But what is a good way to start transitioning them? Because they both work, and they're making a paycheck. How do I transition? What do we start to not pay for?
Well,
let them pay for.
That's a great point, and this comes up a lot because they're in that transition period. And I think what you want to do as a parent is sit down and evaluate what's reasonable for them to be paying for and not be paying for. And if you don't want to charge them rent at this point because they're still in school and they're getting good grades and doing those things, great. But on the other hand, if they start slipping at school or they're home playing video games or they're doing things like that, you have to step in and say, as a parent, we need to make some changes here.
That makes sense.
The other thing that comes out too a lot of times is that they will say, I'm going to go out and buy a new car. Well, if they're going out and buying a new BMW because they can afford it because of their job that they have, you need to cut the cord on that quickly and say, no, we don't do those things here because as a parent, you need to start to move out onto your own.
Sure. Okay.
Tanya, you're in a different situation.
Yeah, well, you know, Ava's 4, but I think it's a good time to start now. But here's the thing, she's totally spoiled, and I have to admit that, but not necessarily by me.
Right.
It's by other people. I mean, it's nice, but for her birthday, for Christmas, this, that, they give her.
It's because you have a cute child.
So many presents, I know, but so many that I can't even open. She's so numb to it at Christmas time that I actually take a bunch of them and hide them, and then I give them to her, you know, maybe 1 week here, 1 week there. I try to do it that way, but like, how do I raise her so that she doesn't expect? Now, every time I come home, she's like, Mommy, do you have a surprise for me? And also because of the show, I'm always coming home with something new. Guess what?
So what does she do?
That's a good point. And my daughter, for a while, was 5, and she came home one day. I said, where'd you get those new shoes? She goes, Dad, the box man bought these for me.
The box man.
Who's the box man? Well, it's the UPS driver. She associated with presents, and the UPS driver was her thing. And it's the same thing. If she's getting gifts all the time, and they don't understand where those are coming for, and that Mom and Dad have to work to earn those gifts, they're not going to appreciate them. And they need to learn how to appreciate those things. One thing you can do is reach out to your friends, family, and say, hey, I know you mean well, but really, if you could be a little bit less on the gifts and so forth, I'm trying to teach my daughter about responsibility and money and all those types of things. They'll usually react in a real positive way.
Yeah, they'll react
They do.
Crazy.
When my kids asked me if they wanted something, and I said, I'm sorry, we can't do it this week, she goes, well, why don't you just go to the money store? Because they thought the bank was a place where we go and they just gave us money. It says, go to the money store and, you know, and bring it home.
And teach
it doesn't work that way. Okay.
This is a bottomless subject. I mean, we could keep going and going and going. More information, you can go to Jeff's website. We'll put it up there in the bottom of your screen, jeffmotske.com. Next, we're going to come back. We're going to sit down and talk. We're going to eat a little bit later with Julie Benz. Next.